Hello, good morning. Welcome back. It's me. So, we're going to continue on with our spring cleanup 2026. This is my 1986 FG445i. You can tell it's an 86 by the dove stock, headstock insignia. I picked this up off of Faceplant just a couple of months ago, but I haven't played it a whole lot. We did some work to it. But springtime's here, the windows are open, so you may hear some traffic or birds, but I don't care. What we're going to do is go over it, take all the measurements, make sure that it's in good operating order for the springtime, for the summer. And now it obviously is a right-handed guitar because FG445s were not offered in left-handed. Being left-handed, you realize you get black-white guitars and very basic ones. You know, they don't go into a bunch of the extras on it. So with this one, I bought it as a right-handed because of the dove stock, for it being rare. And I was just going to leave it right-handed because I can play right-handed inverted or left-handed guitars. But I had another older Yamaha that needed a new nut because it had a badly cut nut. So in a previous episode, go look it up, we cut a new nut for my old Yamaha. So we ended up with an extra. Now we ended up with the extra because when we went to cut the new nut, we realized it was going to be more than just one episode of, you make a new nut and put it on. So what I wanted to do with the other guitar is MacGyver this here nut to make sure that it was usable for a couple of months or however long it was going to take me to cut a new nut. So we MacGyvered it, made it workable, and then put the new nut on and ended up with an extra left-handed nut. So being that I'm going to have this for a little while, I may sell it, but I wanted to be able to play it while I had it. So we knocked off the old nut and put on a new nut. Not a new nut, a revised older nut. So if I do end up selling this, it could be either right or left-handed because it's just floating on there. I did not glue it in. And so there we go. Today we're just going to go over, take all the measurements, make sure everything's in good shape. As I say, the strings are fairly new because I've only had it a couple of months, maybe a month and a half. But we're going to go over it and make sure it's ready for the summertime. So off to the bench. And so, of course, the first thing we're going to do is look at the nut. What we're going to do is get our capo out, put it on the 3rd fret. And what you want is just a little bit of gap between the strings and the 1st fret. And if you tap on them, you'll be able to tell whether they're touching. We don't want them to touch. So just by tapping, you should be able to hear that teep teep sort of sound. So that tells me that it's cut in at least a fairly good spot. Now you can also double check this with your feeler gauges. You want your .020, your .018, and your .016 inch gaps. The 020 is for the thicker of the two strings, and this is without a capo or anything. So this is a little bit low. They're both touching, but I like a really low action on my guitars because I have carpal tunnel, because I didn't check this on my first guitar and played it 30 years with very high action. The 018 is for the center 2 strings. So we'll go from this side, and they're a little bit high, but still within a range that I can handle. And then 016 for the skinniest 2 strings. So these are a little bit high, but we're not going to worry about it. They're still within the parameters of a well-used guitar. So that is the nut. Next, we take a look at the bridge. We want the bridge to be at a right spot. So what we do is we get our straight edge out. I'm going to just put it down the center of the fretboard, make it rest on there, and then what we want is that to basically sit on top of. Now we've got maybe about a millimeter of height difference there. This just touches it. 1 millimeter is not going to make any difference because it's a 1985 guitar. Obviously it's out a little bit, still within the parameters. If you got like 3 or 4 millimeters too high there, then you have too high of a bridge, and that then you're going to be looking at bellying of the soundboard. Next thing we're going to check is the neck relief. Now you want the neck to have a slight bow to it in this manner, so that when you're fretting out down here, you're not getting buzzing up there. I'm just going to take my straight edge, go right down the middle, and set it right on the frets. And what we've got is the straight edge touches here and there, but down through the center part, we have a little bit of gap. There's just a slightest bit of gap between the frets there. As I say, with me wanting extremely low action, it just barely doesn't touch these. That's where I would like it. You might, if you're a real hard strummer, you're going to want the strings to be a little higher up and a little bit of movement in there so that the oscillation doesn't create buzzing. With me, I do just fingerstyle and fairly quietly. I don't bam ba bam bam it very much, so I can have an extremely low action. And the next thing we're going to look at is going to be the truss rod. So now I take a look down the neck, and as I said, this is fairly flat. It's about as flat as you can get it. There is a slight bit of bow to it, but as I say, that's fine. That's where I like to play mine. Now if you find that you do have either too much of a gap here, or you're getting buzzing when you're fretting up or down the bridge, up or down the fretboard, you can make an adjustment to the truss rod. What is the truss rod, you say? This is a professional artist's rendition of a truss rod. Truss rod is a metal beam that goes down through the center of the neck. This is side view, top view. The metal bar goes from the neck, like from the sound hole up to the head. This being the sound hole, most acoustic guitars have the adjustment inside the sound hole in the bottom of the neck. You will also find them up here in the headstock, usually behind a little cover. What you do is, if you have too much bow, what you want to do is tighten the truss rod, and that will pull the top of this bar this way, in turn pulling up on that beam. Pulling up on that beam will in turn push down on the headstock. So you tighten it, the headstock goes down. You loosen it, the headstock comes up and creates more bow. You want just the slightest bit of bow in there, and that is basically how a truss rod works. When you're doing a truss rod adjustment, loosen off all the strings, because what you'll be doing is there's a lot of pressure on that neck, and you're going to be working against that with all the pressure of the strings. So loosen off all the strings, make a very tiny adjustment, go about 1/8 of a turn, and then bring it back up to tune, double check it, bend your strings, make sure that it's settled, and check again. You might have to do it a few times, so always do any sort of adjustment on old strings, because you're going to might have to loosen and tighten them a few times, and you do not want to break them. And if you do find that you have to do setups and you're going to have to loosen and tighten the strings over and over again, always make sure to loosen the skinny strings first, because there's a lot of pressure on that neck. And if you loosen off the large, stronger strings, you're going to put an exponentially, it's going to be a lot harder on the skinny strings, and there's a bigger chance that you can snap them. So you would rather, if you're going to snap strings, snap old strings, which is why you do all setups on your old strings. You don't care how it sounds, you want to care how it plays, how it feels. So the last measurement we're going to do is going to require my headache glasses, and that is going to be the action of the strings at the 12th fret. So we get out our little measuring device and measure me in millimeters, because, well, yeah, Canada. Anyways, so we're going to check out at the 12th fret, and we have about just a little more than 1.75, 175, 1.75, 2, 2, 2, 2. I'm okay with that. I usually like to have more 2s at the larger strings, going down to 175, because the thickness of the string won't buzz with more oscillation. The skinnier strings can be a little lower than the wider strings, because there's going to be a lot more oscillation to them. But that doesn't matter to me. All that matters to me is how it feels when I play, and then how it sounds. So let's double check the tuning on this and see how it does sound. So when you're tuning, you always want to check where they are. Sometimes after the guitar sits for a while, they might be a little sharp, being a little high, or they might be a little flat, being low. Whenever you're tuning a guitar, you want to come up from the bottom. So get them loosened off. Is what I had to do with these ones, just a little bit. And then roll up from below. This I tune to DGC FAD because I have 12 strings, and it puts less pressure on the neck and everything. Plus my voice is more accustomed to a lower tone. Not that I sing much, because, well, I suck. But there again, my guitaring evens it out, because it sucks just as bad. Which is why I get into tuning up and setup of guitars, because I'm never going to make it as a guitarist in this world. Plus, I'm a little old for the old rock and roll life at this point. So, bend all your strings and start again. And there we have it. Now, I should really clean up the guitar. I'm just going to dust it off, because, as I say, I've only had it about a month or so, and I've cleaned it up at that point. With me, I get fingerprints down here because the pickguard is on the wrong side. But I just use that as a kind of a base support. So I always end up with fingerprints right there. So we'll just kind of give it a quick wipe over here. And that is a beautiful guitar. 1986 Yamaha FG445 in tobacco brown. So the last thing we're going to do is go over every note and see if we have any buzzing anywhere. There's almost a little bit of buzz up in there, but how often do you get up in there? So that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Please share, like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Tell me what I did right, did wrong. I know I do things wrong. I'm not a luthier, just an old guy with too much time on my hands. So with that, we'll catch you next time. Bye now. Bye now.